Hey there, I'm John Zimmerman with Table Rock Trout Unlimited and Upper Creek Angler, and today we're going to be tying a fly called an Iron Lotus. It's a variant of this fly. Lance Egan is the originator of it, and we'll get started. I'm tying it very differently than the original pattern by using a jig hook on this. The original pattern calls for a curved nymph hook, but we're going to tie it using a jig hook today. So we'll start with, and this is a slightly darker colored green than the original pattern, and the original pattern is mostly an olive imitation bug, but I am 100% convinced that the general idea of this fly could be replicated across a whole different series of color spectrums. So I haven't tied them in a lot of other color spectrums. I have tied them for PMDs in addition to the blue wing olives, but the general idea of this fly with a one thread color for the body, another thread color for the ribbing, certainly you could produce a whole range of patterns out of this. The tail on this is going to be Coq de Leon feathers, and just as I do in almost all of my flies, I'm going to use the waste material to help me out in establishing a taper, and we'll go in and clip that out. For the purposes of demonstrating this, I am using a number 12 partridge hook, but I keep this in a range of sizes from 12 all the way down to 18. For the ribbing, I'm going to be using white embroidery thread. Just cut a length of that off and tie it in. And I'm just going to spend one little bit working on the taper to finish this up. This is a fat fly in a lot of respects. And you'll see why it's called, or at least the reason I think it's called the Iron Lotus, in just a minute. So we'll take this white embroidery thread, and I'm going to take it all the way to the top. It just makes it a little bit easier for me when I'm tying it. This is a fly that you should, and you'll see why in just a moment, tie in batches instead of one at a time. So once we've got that embroidery thread tied off, we'll go in and snip it out, tie in a whip finish, and cut our green thread out. Under normal circumstances, when I'm tying this, I lacquered this with Sally Hansen's hardest nails, but to save a little bit of time drying, I'm going to use some brushable Zap-A-Gap for the body coating. So this is one of the things that makes this a special fly for me. I don't lose a lot of flies in the trees, not a lot anyway. I don't lose a lot of flies on rocks, not a lot anyway. I do lose a lot of flies to fish teeth and getting beaten up because they last for so long. But this is one of those flies that it lasts like forever because the whole body there just got a big coat of lacquer. This fly will last a very long time. So that's not totally dry yet, but we're going to go ahead and continue on with tying the rest of the fly. That's what I mean by this is a batch fly. If you're going to tie a bunch, you should do the part that I just did and get all of those done, let them all dry, and then go back in and do the part that I'm getting ready to do now. Our wing casing on this is going to be black scudback. This is the 1/8 of an inch version of that. I'm trying to avoid getting glue all over my hands. You can see I did swap out to a red thread. That's the origin of the pattern, to use red thread for the final product. And you can mix up the collar colors in any number of ways. I tend to use the UV ice dub in brown. I had it out just a moment ago, but it doesn't really matter. We'll go with the bloody red, black bloody red. It's probably my favorite of all the dubbing colors for collars. I really like the dark contrast that it has on it. So originally and usually I do finish this off with some UV ice dub in brown, but one of the fun things about patterns like this is that you can experiment a lot and time in a large number of different ways. Go ahead and clip that out. Whip finish to a knot. And definitely, since we have lacquered this whole body, the last thing that we want to happen with this fly is for our knot to come undone. So we'll paint a little Zappa gap on the thread and do one more whip finish and call this fly done. This great fly, I've been catching a bazillion fish on it. I don't know, fish just really turned onto it the last couple of months and haven't been able to keep them off. It wasn't one of my go-to flies for a long time, but now it has very quickly, just in the last couple of months, been one of the flies that I tie on first in just about any case. So get to tying and add some of these to your boxes. Keep them in sizes 12 all the way to 18. Definitely mix up the body color. I've tried it in PMD colors and they're terrific, and I expect just the general design features of this to work well given a whole array of different colors. Happy tying!